All right, so here is our Euro Market first series 635 CSI. And what's cool about this one is this does have the dogleg transmission and the M90 straight six-cylinder engine. So what we'll do is we'll just do a walk around. We've done this before. Now this will be a parts car because there's no title and it is very rusty. So unless you plan on doing some extensive rust repair and some body work, it's better off just in parts because the parts are actually pretty nice. So here we'll do the outside. It does have a story behind it. I've been trying to get this car for about 5 years now. It was local, but it had a car cover underneath it the whole time. So I either thought it was an M6 or like this, a Euro Market 6 Series. This is the E24 chassis, but when I pulled the car cover off, I noticed lots of rust. It wasn't an M car, and it has this body damage here in the fender. Now, once I put it up on the lift, I noticed that the floors are extremely soft and the strut towers are rusty. So, I do have an E24 M6, but it's in pretty good shape, so I don't need any parts off of this car. And you know, with this one, like even the front suspension, like the suspension's different when they're early. This will be like your E12 BMW style. So there's some differences in the front. So we're just going to leave it just like this. If somebody wants this car for the engine, the trans, the factory Recaros, the rear seats, all of the interior panels are in really good shape, probably because the car cover was on it. Some body panels are in still pretty decent shape there. The bumpers are bented and dented and things like that, but there's some pieces on them. I know that you could salvage some of the things on it. And I'll go ahead and pop the hood in a minute. You'll see underneath there. We'll open the doors. We'll go inside. But this just kind of gives you a better idea rather than just looking at photos. And then you can also hear me explain. I was supposed to be getting the title for this, but in reality, it was an estate. She is going through the power of attorney to get the titles for all the other vehicles, which, they're not significant like this car. So there is a good possibility that I will be getting a title to it, but do not count on it. Don't wait for it because I'm not waiting for it. I don't have the room for it right now, so we're just going to sell it. So let's just call it a pretty decent parts car. Now, with starting fluid and a jump box, I got it to crank and turn over and fire, which is pretty amazing because this car's been sitting for a long time. But I didn't trust any of that gas tank. That thing had some large amounts of sediment in it, and I just bypassed that. Let's just go ahead and use starting fluid. And it did fire right up, so that's kind of neat. Yeah, you can see the rust bubbles, somebody put those stainless chrome trims on there. I'm sure it's rusty underneath there. Let's see if I can get you some floor, some rockers. I threw some wheels and tires on it so it can roll pretty well, especially if you need to get a shipper. All right, so here's the inside. Driver's side door panel. The Recaros are in really nice shape. They're very soft. They're not dry. It's got a little wear right here, but nothing through to the foam yet. I cleaned them. I tried to scrub the inside out because it's been sitting for a long time. You'll see here, kind of rubbed away, but it still has the dogleg pattern there, which is really neat. And there's just some little differences too. Like a lot of the stuff is obviously still written in German because this is a Euro market car. I just thought that was so neat. On my E28, I wish I had this setup, but I don't. There's some of the passenger seat there. Here's the rear seats. These usually get really dried out and cracked, but they're still very soft. So that's a big plus, especially if somebody, we've sold a lot of these interiors before, and they do get quite pricey. So if you're looking for, this factory black with the Recaros, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can lift this up here. I'll go around to the other side. It's kind of neat. Unlike some of the 2002 Recaros I've seen, this one has the emblem at the top. Right here, stamped in. Man, I thought that was the coolest. Same thing here. It's just the piping. It has, you know, the dye, the black dye is worn out, but the bolsters are in really good shape here. I guess if you wanted to see what the inside of a Series 1 E24 looks like, this will give you an idea. Just everything's so neat, like the door handles, the perforated vinyl here, that cool looking cockpit that just faces just the driver. The passenger doesn't get much. I mean, I guess you get the old cell phone, but yeah, so that's the Dogleg. Let's go ahead and see underneath the hood here. Here's the struts. Yeah, I mean, you know, from the front, you might even say it's not that bad, but honestly, it was the rear. I looked at the rear and just said, nah. Nowadays, I don't have time for these full restorations. I mean, even on my E28, I don't know if you've seen it on my social media accounts, but on my E28, I had to buy 2 parts cars just to get all those little nuts and bolts, and, you know, sometimes I'll grab better parts from the parts cars. So if you have an E24 Euro market car, this is like a gold mine just for you for parts. And it's cool. It's got the different oil filter housing for the oil cooler that the later cars didn't get. Like I said, this is the M90 engine. Obviously, if you have any other questions or photo requests, you know, just reach out. Now, this fender is smashed in, but it didn't seem to affect the hood at all. The hood is in really good shape. I mean, it's faded, but there's no creases or dents. The door still wasn't that bad. Like, it didn't hit the door. It's just the door has its own rust. But it could be saved. But, you know, like all the different trim and windows and glass, interior. Now, this steering wheel, this is the, I believe they call that the coarse spline or fine spline, whatever it is, it's the early one. So it won't fit your later E24s, E28s, E30s. It won't fit that. But the leather is really nice. Now, a long time ago, I noticed it had the Hardage badge on it. But I can't see anything Hardage on the car. I mean, maybe it has something inside the engine. It doesn't have the headers or anything, so. All right, cool.